Today I want to do a quick video on the price comparison between the main competitors for the sport truck, off-road, fun to drive, top of the end, mid-size trucks out there. So I'm going to compare the Ranger Raptor, the Colorado ZR2 Bison, the new TRD Pro with the iDrive hybrid system, and then I'm throwing in the Jeep Gladiator as well because the Mojave is kind of the desert runner version of that. So those are the four I want to go over, and the reason I'm doing this is I've gotten a lot of comments saying like, oh man, you paid 60 grand for your Ranger Raptor. First of all, you should have gotten a full size. I don't want a full size, so I'm only comparing to mid-size. But then people say, the ZR2 starts at 53,000, or why don't you wait for the TRD Pro? No one actually says anything about the Gladiator, but I used to have one, and it is a very capable truck, so I'm adding it in there. I spec'd out this Ranger Raptor with one of the paints that costs a little bit of money, $500, and then I added the beadlock capable wheels, and the last thing I added was a bed liner, just because I think the Tacoma comes with a plastic bed, so basically it has a bed liner. I couldn't find out if the ZR2 has it or not, but all the pictures I saw had it in there, so I'm just erring on the side of caution. So when all is said and done, the Ranger Raptor is $59,550, so under 60. And the power is 405 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque with a V6 twin turbo. Then you get into the Colorado. So I did a build on the Colorado. This is the motor. It's a 2.7 liter four-cylinder turbocharged. It puts out 430 foot-pounds of torque, so same as the Ranger Raptor. And really, when you're on a trail, torque is what matters. The horsepower being 100 less, not a huge deal on the trails, but when you're on the freeway trying to get up to speed, it is kind of nice to have that extra power, that extra zip in the Ranger Raptor. For the rest of it, I built it with the Bison edition because that got everything spec'd as close to the Ranger Raptor as I could find. But the thing the Bison edition has that the Ranger Raptor does not have is skid plates to protect the rear differential and the entire fuel tank. So when I looked into it, to get that for a Ranger Raptor, that's like another $1,000 to $1,500. So really, these two are very comparable when you get down to the final price of $61,885. I mean, you're $2,000 over, you get some more protection, you get a very different setup of a truck. This is more of a, trail rider truck than a go fast in the dunes kind of truck. But if that's what you want, I mean, it's a gorgeous truck. I think it looks really good. I love the hood, the little bumps and decals up there. I don't know if those are functional or just for looks, but they look awesome. So I think this is a great option if you're a Chevy guy. I'm not loyal to any one brand. I've had all of them, and they all have different things that are great about them. Next, we'll get into the Toyota Tacoma. The TRD Sport and the TRD Pro come with the iDrive. We'll compare it to the TRD Pro because that's their high-end off-road. So for $65,395, so we're already more than $5,000, almost closer to $6,000 over the Ranger. Obviously, Toyotas are amazing trucks. They're known for being bulletproof, not bulletproof in the sense you could shoot them, but they just run forever. But that was with the 4-liter that to me was very detuned. Now that they're putting turbocharged 4-cylinders, hopefully they keep that reliability up, but they're starting to try to get more out of their motors. So when you start tweaking it, you're going to get a little bit more performance, but not as great of reliability as the old Tacomas that could go like 300,000 miles changing your oil, and that was it. So when you get into the power, that's where the differences really are. So it's a 4-cylinder, but it's also backed up with an electric motor. So torque is going to be there. 465 foot-pounds of torque is going to be pretty awesome out on the trails. And then 325 horsepower, similar numbers to the Colorado, a little bit less than the Ranger. But I bet this thing feels pretty good with that electric. With the electric motors, that instant torque, you don't have to rev anything up, it's just there all the time. So I bet the throttle response is pretty impressive. Smaller 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, but turbocharged, so they're getting some power out of that. Again, I like the motor in the Ranger Raptor. I have it, so that's what I'm comparing it to. Onto the Gladiators. I spec'd out the Mojave X, and the Rubicon, thinking you could still get a diesel in the Rubicon, but you can't. And it looks like the site is all messed up here. So we will see. Yep, it's not working for any of them for the pictures, but you guys know what they look like. There is no more option for a diesel in 2024. I had the diesel in 22. It was a bit of a dog. I thought it was going to be more peppy than it was, but it is what it is. But these things are all $65,000 or $70,000. So there's a Rubicon X, a Mojave X, and a regular Rubicon. All of them have the option of a manual transmission. Personally, I like that, but my wife doesn't want to drive manual, so I get automatics. But the fact that it's an option is kind of cool. But the automatic is $2,500 more. So, I mean, kind of crazy that you've got to do that. But anyway, and then the power on the Jeep Gladiator. It's a 3.6 liter, just naturally aspirated motor, but it's 285 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, that is pretty low numbers. I know these trucks can go a lot of places and do a lot of stuff, but I mean, that's JB, especially for $70,000. Not sure why I'm comparing to Jeeps. Very different, solid front and rear axles, more of rock crawlers, but the Mojave is the desert runner version of their Gladiator setup. The hands down winner, in my opinion, is the Ford Ranger Raptor. Obviously, that's my opinion. That's the one I bought. It's got the motor, it's got just the looks, the styling, everything I wanted. My thought, though, is that the fact that it is the least expensive of the four that I'm looking at here, what does 2025 have in store for the Ford Ranger Raptor pricing? I think it will go up and be, when you spec it out, it will probably be in the $63,000-ish range. It might have like a base price of 58, and then you get all the things you want and you're up to 63. Kind of like right now, it's based at 55 and you can get it up to around 60. I know when the first F-150 Raptor came out with that 6.2 V8, it was going up in price a little bit every year. And then when the Gen 2 came out with the 3.5 liter twin turbocharged motor, those V8s were going way up in price. So people that bought them brand new when they first came out were actually able to sell them for more than they paid for them MSRP, because the whole like there's no replacement for displacement mindset of people wanted that V8, even though it had less power than the EcoBoost. There's just something about the sound of a V8, and I get it. And then obviously Ford went back and realized there's a market that still wants that, so they have the Raptor R. People are spending $150,000, you know, it's 110 with a huge markup, but people are spending that money to get that high-end Raptor, and obviously the Ram TRX is the competition for that. So the other truck that I'm waiting to see come out is the Dakota. I don't know what they're going to do, but if anybody's going to put a monster V8 in a midsize truck, it's going to be Dodge, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I've never been a Mopar guy, but I do like the way they sound. I think the styling of those trucks are great, but we'll see. I haven't seen too much on it yet. So that's it for now. Pricing is good. I think the Ranger Raptor price is going to go up in 2025, and you should get one now while you can.
It's over!